Hello, hello, recording here from the Jungle Hub. It's a very hot April afternoon. Um, I want to try to really convey what it means to work more from your body and less from your mind. We practice this a lot in our meditations. So, the real evolution happens from our heart center, not from our thoughts. We are not going to answer the hard questions with analysis. It's not an intellectual endeavor. This is simply reconnecting to who you are, not as a story, not as an explanation that is in words, like I was born in a certain place, to a certain kind of family, with a certain gender, and I was given this name, and then I did this kind of schooling, and then I got this kind of paper, and then I got this kind of job, and then I got this kind of wife, and so on. That's a story. It has a beginning, it has an end, it has suspense, it has all the elements of a story, it has words, right? That's linear thinking. That's one word after the next, like a little line of ants. What is being asked of us is not to use our linear logic, but to use our multidimensional, nonlinear wisdom. And that doesn't reside in the head, it resides in the heart, it resides in your whole body. So, what we're asked to do is simply, how do you feel? Feel you. What do you feel? That's why the question in the check in is so important always. How do you feel? How do I feel? That's where everything starts. That's where the real evolution starts. Now, in the check in, we are supposed to use words and use language because we are with other people and we are trying to convey how do we feel. So we elaborate with words and we can say whatever we want. But in the meditation, it's the same question, but maybe instead of how do I feel, what do I feel? And in meditation, we're not going to use words, even of the inner voice, right? No words at all, no words in my imagination, no words in my inner voice. When I say, how do I feel? I don't mean to start with the whole story. I feel so frustrated because this and this happened to me, and it's the third time, and I told this person, I cannot believe that this is happening, and this always happens to me, and blah, blah, blah. Right? That's not what we mean with how do I feel. How do I feel is quite literally, what do I feel? In the body, in terms of sensations. That's where the answer lies. So let's take an example. Let's take I'm meditating. So how do I feel? And some emotions begin to pop up. I don't feel good. Let's say I feel anxious. So okay, let's work with that. I feel anxious because feeling anxious is more a sensation than a thought, right? Compare it to somebody who says, I feel angry because I am an idiot, I can't do anything right, I failed at this and this. I'm just giving examples, right? That's not how you feel. You are simply elaborating a story about something you believe to be true, but you're not telling me how do you feel. It would suffice to say, I feel angry. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means, I don't know, it feels like a little hot. It feels like I have a lot of blood running in me, so I feel like hot, and I feel like getting up, and I feel like doing something with movement to try to release something. That's how you feel. That's feeling angry, and you should just do it. Get up, get active. Or if you feel anxiety, all right, let's keep. It's already one word, let's not turn it into any more words. That's the trick, right? Because you don't go like, yeah, I feel anxious. It may be that it has to do with the fact that I have been thinking about this and that. No, already wrong. Just feel, how does it feel like to be anxious? How does it feel like to have anxiety? So you begin, take a deep breath, tune in to yourself. How do you feel? It's always like a scan. It's always like, wait a minute, let me go look. You don't have to think any. You don't have to prepare. How do you feel? Is, give me a second. I am going to tune in with myself and sense all the sensations that I have in my body, and also in like my emotional body, and then describe those emotions as I feel them in the body. Okay, anxiety. I have shallow breathing. I feel like I cannot concentrate on one particular thing. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like I need to be doing something that I'm not doing. You see my point? It's about the sensation in your body. And then what? And then you just stay there. You feel it for as long as you feel it. You feel it for as long as you feel that, and before you feel the next thing, because that's the beauty of meditation. You don't have to do anything. You just have to get out of your own way. Just feel what there is to feel without trying to change anything, without trying to veer where this thing is going to, without trying to control. I want it to be like this, not like that. No, it's easy. Just scan yourself from the inside and feel whatever it is you're feeling. For however long you're feeling that, you follow the sensation. You begin to notice that these sensations are not static, they're dynamic. If you allow them, they are dynamic. If you distract yourself every time trying to take control and start analyzing something logically, then they might appear as static. But as soon as you really put your consciousness and allow for these sensations and emotions, raw emotions, to simply emerge and just feel that, then they become dynamic. You begin to see that they are moving, they are being released. Right? Another parallel between the meditation and the check-in is that you should treat your sensations like if they were members of the check-in, and it's their time to say how they feel. You have nothing to do. The rules of the check-in, right? You're not supposed to interfere, and you're supposed to let that entity speak in quotes, right? And allow it to express itself with this sensation, and then until it's done, right? That's the other rule. You don't interrupt, and the person really has to say that they're done, because otherwise we stay there until the person says it's done. The same with the emotions that arise, with the energies that arise. We simply listen, we observe, and we allow that entity to express itself all the way until the end. That's really how dynamic this is. And after this entity is done communicating whatever it is they wanted to convey, then they feel relieved. And then we feel relieved. So that's meditation. To simply get out of your own way and let whatever wants to manifest in the present manifest in the present, and you're there simply as a witness until it's done. That's it. That's meditation. And then the ultimate practice is to ask yourself, how do you feel? What do you feel at all times of the day? So you are really cultivating that awareness of your inner state, not of your story and of your chores and what you need to solve, or what you need to change, or where you need to act. But how do you feel at all times of the day? That will tune you to your inner authentic you, and you will begin to act out of your heart and not out of control, not out of your head. And that will transform your life. You let me know later.